Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the All Sports Focus podcast. We're back here doing a pre-second round of the college football playoff and pre-week 18 of the NFL season. We've got the four of us here today, Ryan, Pap, and Troy. Say what's up, fellas.
What's up, fellas?
No Sean today. He is unfortunately working on some fires in Florida. So with that being said, it's just going to be the four of us real quick. We're going to cue the intro and then hop into the episode. All right, so like I said, we're going to be starting off today talking about the college football second round quarterfinal games. Obviously, starting us off on Wednesday, December 31st, is the Cotton Bowl between the Miami Hurricanes and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Obviously, Ohio State is favorites in this game. No real surprise on that one. 9.5-point favorites over Miami. Does anybody here think Miami has a chance? I mean, I kind of I don't have them winning, but I think there's a chance they could win.
Stop. Don't even. There's not a chance.
There's a little bit of chance if they run the ball the way they're running the ball and play defense.
No.
You think
Ohio
points.
State's going to win that by at least 2 scores, bro.
I think the only way Miami has a shot is if their defense plays out of their mind and just in the same way Indiana slowed Ohio State down and basically ground them to nothing. It's really your only shot is you have to just get in a low-scoring defensive battle and hope that you can win the turnover margin.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't think there's really much of a chance. I just don't think it's going to be anything worth of a blowout just because of Miami's defense is going to keep it close a little bit. Don't think Miami's offense will be able to keep up, but I think their defense will keep them in the game for as long as possible. So are we all picking Ohio State? I think this is probably the most boring of the 3 games. We're all taking Ohio State. All right, moving on to the New Year's Day games. Starting off, Oregon, Texas Tech. I think this is probably, I don't know if this is the most anticipated one, but I would say this is the most that could go either way for me. I feel like you could pick Oregon or Texas Tech and be right. You don't think so, Pat?
No.
Who do you think?
I think Oregon. I'm not going to say about a lot, but no, I just think Oregon's going to dominate this game. I just still don't know if I can trust Texas Tech because I know that they beat BYU twice and BYU is a pretty solid team, but they lost to Arizona State. I know it's their backup, but it's hard to compare Big 10 to Big 12 on any basis. So I think Oregon's going to win, but I don't know if it's going to be as close as what the spread says and what everyone else thinks.
Yeah. I think Texas Tech's defense, kind of like I said with Miami, don't think their offense could, I don't think their offense is going to be able to go touchdown for touchdown with Dante Moore and Oregon's offense. But, I mean, that defense has realistically been a top 3 defense, top 5 defense all year. And yes, they are playing in the Big 12. But, I mean, you have Jacob Rodriguez, who's top 5 in Heisman voting as your middle linebacker. And that alone should help you out a little bit. Troy, what do you think about this game?
Yeah. Obviously, Dante Moore, very capable offensive weapon, but we've also seen where he just kind of forces some throws and some turnovers happen. And I feel like Texas Tech's defense being what it is, I feel like that might happen one too many times. And maybe if Texas Tech's offense can get going even just a little bit, I feel like the defense might be able to hold it out for them.
Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's realistic to say that Oregon's offense has not been the most potent all year. They've definitely had their lulls and had their times where they've really struggled. Again, against Indiana was a great example of Dante Moore really struggling and having multiple turnovers. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say that if Texas Tech forces an interception and a fumble or 2 interceptions or something and gives their offense short field, then I don't think it's far-fetched at all to say Texas Tech could pull this out.
I think I think either way, like I said at the beginning, I think this could go either way. I'm sticking with my bracket. We're going to real quickly do our game picks. I'm sticking with my bracket selection. I am sticking with Texas Tech. I just think this defense is going to carry them over Oregon. Kind of piggybacking off Ryan, I think they will force a turnover or two and win the game off that. Just based on a turnover will give them short field, and their offense will get an easy touchdown or field goal from it. So I'm picking Texas Tech. Ryan, going back to you. Who's your
Yeah,
winner?
I'm sticking with Texas Tech here. I think same thing what I was saying. They force a couple turnovers. Oregon's offense regresses a little bit, and Texas Tech's offense is able to take advantage and win this one in a close one. This one's a field goal, I think, decides it.
Yeah. Troy?
Yeah, I think the Red Raiders are going to go duck hunting this week. Definitely is going to be a one-score game without a doubt. I totally agree with that. But I think Texas Tech's defense will be able to just edge it out for the Raiders.
And then Pap, you're going with the Ducks, correct?
Yeah, probably Ducks by like 10.
By 10. Okay. All right. So we got a little different side of opinions here on that one. All right. So moving on here to the 4 o'clock game. And if you would have, like I've said this many times, if you would have told me 5 years ago that Alabama and Indiana would be playing in a college football playoff quarterfinal game and that Indiana would be the favorites, I would say you're crazy. But here we are in 2020. Well, this will be 2026 at this point. But the Rose Bowl game here, Indiana, Alabama, the number 1 seed. Does anybody have Alabama winning this game here? And I believe Troy does, now that I say that. So, Troy, start
Roll
us off. Why do you
Tide.
think Alabama can win this game?
Well, first off, they just played against Oklahoma, and they just put up what I think it was like 35 unanswered against Oklahoma's defense, all the while stopping Oklahoma's offense, which Oklahoma's offense hasn't been great this year after John Mateer got hurt. But one thing I will say is Ty Simpson's looking a lot better, I think, than the past few games he's had. And I think the rest of the offense kind of has been looking a lot better. But one thing I will say is Mendoza, obviously the Heisman winner. But again, he didn't perform fantastically against some of the top teams. Obviously, they got the win over Ohio State, but it was I think they only won by 3. So not a crazy victory for
What do you
them.
want them to do? Win by 30 against the number 1 team in the country at the time?
He also missed a
Yeah.
field goal, so it should have been tied going into
Yeah,
the
exactly.
final.
Exactly. He missed a 20-yard field goal, so realistically that game should be in overtime. But
And the way Indiana got the ball down the field to kill the game, they would have been able to kick a field goal right back.
that's
Yeah,
what
but
you
it's a whole,
think.
it's a whole
But then they
different,
could have
whole
missed.
different look. Your
No,
defense just
all I'm
goes
saying
bad.
is Alabama, after they got down early in that game against Oklahoma, started looking good, started playing better, and Indiana hasn't when they've played the better teams in the nation, they haven't performed out of their mind, which is I think Indiana's gonna have to show
They'll win
off a
Oregon.
lot more to beat this Alabama team than the other teams. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so just to clarify here, you're saying they need to show off more than what they did to beat Ohio State?
All I'm
what they need-
saying is Mendoza is mid. This whole class sucked, and that's why he won the Heisman, because he got to point farm off of terrible teams and then barely beat the good teams. That's all
Barely?
I got. Yeah.
Again, going back to what Ryan said, do you want them to beat Ohio State and Oregon by 30?
Well, the way they're hyped up, they should be beating them by 30. Considering
Nobody's
everyone's
hyping
"Oh
them
my
up like
gosh,
they're the greatest
Indiana."
football team of all time. They're just,
I don't want to hear that. You've been doing that all this week. Last
They
week,
went
you've been
into
saying they're
Eugene,
so
Oregon,
great.
and beat them, and then they beat the number 1 team in the country.
Well,
in the
guess
Big
what?
Ten
I have Oregon.
championship.
I have Oregon losing this week. I don't think Oregon's fantastic. Their offense just gets lucky a lot of the
But
time.
if you
and they
think
have a lot
Ohio
of
State's
weapons.
good and they beat Ohio State, then wouldn't that make them good?
Well, when you play,
That's their only.
got him.
All I'm
All right,
saying.
we're moving on.
caught my ass.
Caught him. We're moving on. All right. I think I'm picking Indiana to win this game. And yes, obviously Mendoza's stats weren't, normal Heisman ranking, whatever. But I just think he runs the offense perfectly. The way they run the RPO offense, he's had a couple bad turnovers in big games, but I don't know. I just think, and the crazy part about this, Indiana's defense is better than their offense. Their defense is ranked number 2 in the country behind Ohio State. And I think that's what's going to win them this game is their defense. They're going to kind of force Alabama to throw the ball because they have no running game. And Indiana's strength is pass rushing and getting to the quarterback. So they're just going to be playing right into Indiana's strengths. So that's why I think Indiana's going to win this ball game. Pap, what's your thoughts?
So I had Indiana winning, like in my bracket, but like something over the last couple of I think last week or 2 weeks ago with them beating Oklahoma after going down early, and then I know that Indiana's like defense is really great and the D line's pretty like star-studded, but Alabama sees a great defense. Has seen so many great defenses through the SEC all year. With Missouri has a great D line, Oklahoma obviously, even Georgia. They're obviously always gonna be good up front. So I think this won't be like shocking to them when they go and play. And I know Indiana's a lot better than, you know, obviously a lot better than Oklahoma and all these teams. But I could see Alabama pulling off not the upset because it's not that like big of a spread. But I could see them winning. And also, kind of like in a way, I think that there's no benefit to having a break. So like, I feel like that bye doesn't really benefit you. So I could see. Now I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a blowout, but I almost could see something like Ohio State and Oregon last year when it was like catch them off
All
guard and
four
then
all four top teams lost last year. I mean, keep that in mind. All the teams. Sorry to cut you off, Pap. Let you finish
yeah,
up.
I got you. I actually have Alabama. I'm switching up my pick.
Okay, let's tell him with Alabama. Ryan, what are your quick thought and who's your winner of this game?
Except for the second half of the game against Oklahoma, Alabama has looked terrible over the past 3 games they've played. Auburn, they barely skated by in a game that probably would have gotten Kalen DeBoer fired if they hadn't won. Georgia absolutely stomped them the entire game in the SEC championship. And then the first half, I mean, if John Mateer doesn't throw a pick 6, I don't know that this game ever swings around just because of the momentum that came from a bad pick 6. So all of that in consideration, and like the way that, yes, like Pap said, they played a lot of tough defensive lines, but I mean, they only beat Missouri by 3 that they played. So, and Florida State loss still is an impact there. So I just don't know that Ty Simpson and the Alabama offense gives me enough to give me confidence to say that they can do it. Because I think if they fall behind like they did against Oklahoma, Indiana's going to run away with it. And I don't think they have the margin of error that they did against an Oklahoma team that, all things considered, was not like nobody thought they were going to make it past this second round. Some people gave them a chance to beat Alabama and others didn't. So nobody thought they were going to make it past here. So I don't know. And in my opinion, I'm taking Indiana because I think if Alabama spots them even a little bit of a lead, this defense is going to force a turnover or two, and Mendoza's just going to chew up clock the way that offense can move, and they're going to just run it out on them.
All right, so we're nice 2-2 split here.
Hold on. I'd like to add the stats in for Mendoza against Oregon and Ohio State. Between those 2 games, this is his combined stat line: 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 28 rushing yards. That's all I got to say against the 2 good teams they played this year.
And how
So if
many
they
of those
win, it's
games
not going to
did
be
they
because of
win?
Mendoza.
Did I ever?
They won
I
both.
literally said it's going to be
I'm
because
saying
of
it's
their
the
defense.
I know. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying I think Mendoza's going to be on. He's going to throw a pick or probably 2 picks this week, and just saying.
Just wait and see, Bob. Wait and see.
Let's talk
All
about
right.
Ty Simpson's stats.
Roll
Against
Tide.
Fairleigh had 50% completion against Florida State, had under 50%
First game of the year.
completion against Georgia, had
Georgia's really good.
barely
Georgia's winning
over
the Natty.
50% completion against Auburn.
Rivalry game.
I mean, and still he had 1 pick, 1 touchdown against Georgia, took multiple sacks. And so it's not like any of these quarterbacks' numbers are jumping off the page in any of these games. Mendoza's doesn't. Gunnar Stockton's numbers sure as hell don't jump off the page. Dante Moore's don't jump off the page.
Don't talk
None of
about
these
Gunnar
quarterbacks
like that,
have
man.
had.
That was such an unnecessary
But the
jab at
thing
Gunnar
is,
Stockton. Damn. I mean, he wasn't even a part
I'm
of the
Gunnar
saying,
definitely
conversation.
I'm saying
doesn't.
Dante Moore too. Like Dante Moore's don't jump off the page. Even Julian Sayin really has only point farmed against bad teams. His numbers weren't crazy against Indiana or even against Penn State or some of these others. So none of these quarterbacks have had a Joe Burrow-esque season where they threw for 40 touchdowns.
Yeah. All right, we don't want to talk too much about that. We're going to move on here to the last game, the Sugar Bowl between Ole Miss and Georgia. SEC, I would say, kind of rivals at this point. They played earlier in the regular season. A lot of storylines surrounding this game. Ole Miss's, I would say, their first real game without Lane Kiffin because Tulane sucks. And Ole Miss, literally, that game was not close for even a second. So this is their first real game without Lane Kiffin, their first SEC opponent. And they're going up against the SEC championship champions and the number 3 team in the country in Georgia. I don't really see a world in which this game. I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout, but I don't see a way that Ole Miss wins this game. Because the last time Ole Miss almost won this game just in a pure shootout, absolutely no defense. I can't remember the final score off the top of my head, but I feel like it was like 50-46 or something like that. I feel like it was something absurd. And I just don't think that's going to be possible. Just how better Georgia's defense has been over the last month of the season. And I think that's going to continue. And I think they win by probably 10, maybe 2 touchdowns. I just think their defense suffocates Ole Miss and wins this game pretty easily. Troy?
Yeah, go Dogs without a doubt. I mean, if they had Lane Kiffin, I think their offense might be able to figure something out just because he's an offensive mastermind. But I think Kirby Smart and that Georgia defense is just going to be way too much. They're going to get out coached, obviously, and they're just going to get outplayed pretty much the whole game.
All right. Ryan?
Yeah, honestly, I think this one is the largest blowout of the quarterfinals games, if I'm predicting.
Over Ohio State.
Yeah, I think so. Just because Ole Miss has not had a defense all season. So now when you're taking the defensive coordinator and making him the head coach, they weren't succeeding that well before. You know that the offensive coordinator is more focused on LSU at this point than coaching, or even if he's 50-50, he's not investing nearly as much time into this game as he should be. And then most of these Ole Miss guys know that they're leaving or just kind of playing for whatever. I don't think that they can get it done. And I think this is an environment too that you're going to see a lot more Georgia Red and Bulldogs fans in the Superdome here in New Orleans, and you're going to see Ole Miss fans. It's going to become a Georgia home game type of environment, and Georgia knows how to win these roughneck and tough games, and they're going to grind Ole Miss down, and that's not the type of team Ole Miss is. They're not we're going to play in the trenches and run the ball hard and just kind of grind our way down the field on a 15-play drive. They were always a quick strike, real fast-paced offense, and they don't have the ability to do that anymore without Lane Kiffin.
Mm-hmm. All right, Pap.
Yeah, I like Georgia here. I mean, I kind of think about last year as like the same thing when it came down to Notre Dame and Georgia, where they say, well, it's at the Superdome, it's going to be a lot of Georgia fans and to be this and that. But then there's the other side as well, Ole Miss is coming off a good win, and you have you have a fire underneath you with losing your coach, and you're kind of rallying behind Pete Golding. So I mean, I think Georgia wins, but I would not be surprised if Ole Miss kind of just like snuck underneath them and just took this game from them.
I think they could hang around, and it's just all going to be reliant on if they can stop Georgia's offense. Honestly, if their defense can withstand and get like 3 stops, I would say honestly is a number 3 or 4 stops. So with that being said, it's going to wrap up the college football part of this. Obviously, we're excited to watch those 4 games. Should be very good over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Hopefully, some more competitive games than last year's quarterfinal games, because last year's, besides really Notre Dame and Georgia, all the other games kind of sucked. So I'm hoping for some better games. I'm praying that they fix the frickin' bracket before next year as well. Just own up to it, make the bracket 16 teams, and let's just roll with it. But with that being said, we're going to hop into the NFL part here. We're going to keep this nice and short. We're just talking about 3 games because it's really the only 3 games that I would say technically matter. A lot of the other games between playoff teams are for like seeding, like, oh, if they win, they get the 5 seed, they lose, they get the 6, 1, 2. We're not going to talk about those because it's just too many what ifs. It's just going to happen if it happens. But starting off, the 3 games playing for divisions and the 1 seed in the NFC, starting off on Saturday is the Panthers and the Buccaneers. Troy's Panther at 4:30 Should be a very good game here in Tampa Bay. Obviously, I know Troy's picking the Panthers. We're just going to real quick give our game pick here. One quick thought, nothing real, not too long of a ramble, anything like that. Troy, you're obviously picking the Panthers. Why can they win this game?
Dude, oh my God. After watching the Seahawks game, JC Horn did not play like JC Horn. I think he had money on the game and he just wanted to have to play. I think he wanted to have to play the Buccaneers again. I don't know. Like, I guess he wanted more playing time. But Bryce Young has been playing pretty good in these big games. I think he's thrown one pick in the past, like, I don't know. I think it's been like 6, maybe 7 games. I didn't want to have to do it, but I'm pretty sure that's the stats. But Bryce Young's been getting up to the opportunities, and he's been playing pretty well. Hopefully, our defense gets their head out of their ass this week, because I don't know if we will win if they don't. Baker Mayfield obviously hasn't been playing that well lately, and his late game drives have been abysmal. He threw a pick in the past 2 game-winning drives, and that's just not something you can do to win football games.
Yeah. Pap, who is your winner?
I think the Panthers win, not because of how good the Panthers have looked. It's just more about how bad the Bucks have looked. So I don't think you do much to beat the Bucks right now the way they're playing. Like I said yesterday, I just think it's 2 average teams, and whoever's less average will get out of the this game and go to the playoffs.
I'm going to literally word for word agree with Pap just because of how I'm going to pick the Panthers, just because of how bad the Bucks have been of recent. But long story short, whoever wins this game is going to lose to either the 49ers or the Seahawks in the first round of the playoffs. Sorry, NFC South champion, you're not beating either one of those teams. So, Ryan, who's your
That's
winner?
not nice, bro.
Yeah,
Am
I
I
think the
wrong?
Panthers win. I think the Panthers win. The Bucks have just not looked at all like a playoff team, and have honestly been pretty much a shell of themselves for the past 6 or 7 or 8 weeks so far. And
We're fucking rolling them out here.
so I just think that the Panthers don't have to do a ton to beat them. They just have to not beat themselves. And I think they are able to get that done here in the Week 18 game and get the win and go to the playoffs.
Yeah, they might play like the 6 or 7 seed, right, Ryan?
Okay.
All right. I'm done.
Quick news from ESPN. Justin Herbert is not playing against the Denver Broncos. He will not start.
You just stole my thunder, dude. I just got the Adam Schefter report. But yeah, I think that all but
Well, so the
settles in.
Broncos are the 1 seed and the Bills are the 6 then.
Yeah. Yep, that basically all but settles in that the AFC will be running through Mile High in Denver. You're hearing it. Yeah, you're not hearing it here first by the time this is out, but we're
Your
telling you
ass.
here first. All right, so the next Week 18 game, Saturday night, is the Seahawks and the 49ers. The same scenario that the Lions and Vikings were in last year, with the winner winning the NFC West and becoming the 1 seed in the NFC, and the loser being the 5 seed going to play the NFC South team. Niners just got a huge win over the Bears last night on Sunday Night Football, one of the games of the year. That was an insane game. And the Seahawks beat the Panthers in kind of an ugly game, but they snuck by and got the win. Real quick, we're just going to go around and say our winners. Troy, who is your winner of this game?
Hold on, I got to double check. Oh, it's in Levi's. Oof. I think honestly, well, it's a little bit different since it's the Seahawks going there, but going to Levi Stadium is one of the harder places you can go to. Not that like the stadium's like pulse is crazy or anything like that. It's just a lot of the times it's like the East Coast teams going over there. But I think the Niners might pull it off just because they've shown that if they need to just have a complete offensive battle with a team, like they just showed they can beat them. I feel like that they might have to, because that Bears defense literally got a pick 6 on the first play of the game, and they still ended up beating them by a score. So I think the Niners might be able to pull it off just because their offense, but I could see the Seahawks winning. This is a pretty 50-50 game, but I think the Niners will be able to pull it off.
Pap, who's your winner?
I like 49ers. I think 49ers win, and then Panthers pull off one hell of an upset the next week in the playoffs.
Over the Seahawks, you're saying?
Yes,
then?
sir.
Wow. All right, we're
Yes,
pre-firing
sir.
that. We'll we'll save that for next week. We'll save that for next week when we're talking about the wild card games. But Pap's pre-firing it. All right, you did hear that hot take here first. So, Ryan, who's your winner?
I like the 49ers. I think being at home, Sam Darnold as the quarterback, not just with the Seahawks, but has kind of struggled in pressure scenarios. And I think this one definitely counts as a high pressure scenario. So I think CMC and the 49ers are able to get it done.
We're really about to sweep this game here. I'm going the 49ers as well. Ryan, sorry you're going to have to bleep this out, but Big Brock is going to freaking get the W. No white guy should be hitting the Dougie. No 6-foot white quarterback should be hitting the Dougie on Sunday Night Football like Brock Purdy was hitting the Dougie last night. Minus that pick six, that is one of the, that's just one of the most fun games I've ever watched, just watching Brock Purdy literally run around like a little kid playing backyard football and torching the Bears defense in the red zone especially. So I think the 49ers get it done, and I think they're the 1 seed, and the NFC's got to go all the way through San Fran up until when the Super Bowl is also in San Fran. So,
What do you say?
Looks
kind
like
of be a
San
little
Fran's got
crazy.
a
And shout
home
out
Super
Kyle
Bowl.
Shanahan. He has to be coach of the year if they win this game and they get the 1 seed when their 2 best defensive players have been out for the year and Brock Purdy was out for like 8 games of the year.
Kittle's
I don't
been
know who
out.
else is coach of the year other than that, but that alone right there. And Kittle's been out too. He's got to be coach of the year if they win this game. All right, and the last game here, Sunday Night Football. I'm honestly, not that this really matters much, but I would have rather seen the 49ers game on Sunday Night Football and this Ravens-Steelers game be on Saturday, but that's just me personally. Battle of 8, 8, and 9, and 7 here between the Steelers, and shout out the Browns because that's the only way this game is even possible. Just real quick, I want to touch on before we talk about this game, the fact that the Steelers thought games on the line, let's throw it to MVS 3 times in a row with the game on the line. Don't know if that was the smartest coaching decision. Don't know if Lamar's going to be playing this week, but keep that in mind if he does. Snoop Huntley played pretty well. I almost said Snoop Dogg. But Snoop Huntley played pretty well last week. So, Troy, who's your winner?
After that performance from King Henry, dude, it's kind of hard not to choose the Ravens to win this because we all know the Steelers' rush defense has not been optimal, I guess is the right word. I think Mike Tomlin just likes getting his 9 and 8 and then saying, like, yeah, guys, see, I got another winning season. Aren't you so happy? No, dude, we're not happy. We want to go to the playoffs and win some games. But even if they do, they lose in the first round. I mean, if I was a Steelers fan, I would be so embarrassed of my organization that we just go 9 and 8 every year and then lose in the first round of the playoffs. Like, I don't
Shout
know,
out
bro.
Gage
It's just,
Voda.
and also another
Shout out
thing,
Gage.
the Steelers' game plan seemed to be not to win the game against the Browns, but to just stop Myles Garrett from getting the sack record. So I don't know what was going on there. They were just like, don't let him get the sack. Don't let him get the sack. Oh, we have to win the game. Oh.
They care.
But
They care
yeah,
more about the record not getting broken. I do
yeah,
think he's going to
exactly.
break it this weekend, though, playing the Bengals. Obviously, we all know they have no O-line, so I'm praying for
It
Joe
just means
Burrow.
less though, but I do
Someone,
think he will get it.
yeah. Obviously, the Giants fan of me wants Strahan to keep the record, so Bengals, do whatever at all costs, okay? I'm telling you right now, face mask, take him down, holding, whatever it is, you do it. Don't let him get the sack. You're
I
playing
think
for
the
nothing
Bengals O
anyways,
line. I think the
so
Bengals O line
so
could
don't
do
get it.
that, and he'd still get the sack.
Yeah, I expect it. But all right, Pap, who's your winner of Sunday Night Football, Ravens or Steelers?
I'm gonna say the Ravens, just because I think that the Ravens have only been really trending upwards. More, not I wouldn't say only trending upwards because they have had a pretty rough season overall, but they have been trending upwards based off last game and kind of the game before that. So yeah, I like the Ravens. I have not much more to say about it because I don't give a shit about those two sorry ass teams. So
Yeah, because your team's
Fair
not making
enough.
the
All
playoffs. That's
right,
probably
Ryan,
why.
who's your winner?
I think the Steelers get it done here. The Ravens just really have not done much. I mean, Lamar's thrown for less than 300 total yards combined in the past like 2 games and really has not looked like much of himself. And so I think even though Derrick Henry, I'm sure, will have a great game, I do think that the Steelers have a little bit more of an edge here just to get the win with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he has played well over this whole season and over these past few games, besides the Browns game. So I like him to get it done here and kind of hold on to their slipping division lead because they definitely had it locked up a while ago and just couldn't get it done.
I'm actually going to pick the Ravens here. I think with Derrick Henry, just and the way their defense, the Ravens defense has kind of periodically gotten a little bit better over the last couple weeks. Not that they're anything insanely better, but I just also think in the long run that the Ravens have a better chance of winning a playoff game or beating another high level team than the Pittsburgh Steelers do. So that's why I'm going to pick the Ravens here to get in and be the 4 seed in the AFC. One last question I'm going to leave us with here before we wrap it up. Do we think that either one of these coaches, because there's been a ton of rumors, do we think that there's a chance that either of these coaches could be fired? With either of them being like the losing team, whether that be, I believe it's John Harbaugh. Yep, John Harbaugh
Yeah.
or Mike Tomlin. There's been a lot of reports of it. Both of them kind of been on the hot seat. I don't really believe it. I just kind of wanted to throw it out there. And do you guys have any opinions? Does anybody think that it's possible?
I
No.
couldn't
Pap saying
see
no.
Tomlin. I couldn't see Tomlin getting fired for sure, but John Harbaugh is just kind of late. Like past couple seasons have not been coaching the best, and we've seen it where he just doesn't put his players in the right positions in clutch games. Like Derrick Henry doesn't get the ball like 2 weeks ago when he was just averaging like 7 yards per carry, and they end up losing that game. So I could see maybe John, but I doubt either one will get fired.
All right. So
I'm kind of the opposite. I think if any one of them, it would be Tomlin, just because he has been so mid for so long and really has not done anything besides getting a winning season every year. So I think if they had this huge lead for the division and then they lose, especially if it's kind of a bad loss, and they choke away their playoff spot, or even if they go into the playoffs and first round get just absolutely destroyed, then I think they may clean house with Rodgers probably retiring and then Tomlin getting fired, and they just kind of say we're going to start from ground zero here.
all right. I'm looking forward to they like to call it Black Monday, the Monday after Week 18 games are done, when you see all the coaches get fired, you see all the GMs get fired. I am praying to the Lord and Savior that the Giants GM gets fired. Just please. If you had to give last question, I'm going to leave us. If you had to give one coach who you think will be fired who hasn't already been fired, who do you think the one coach will be fired next week? I'm going to say I've got Jonathan Gannon of the Arizona Cardinals. He's my pick. I just think they're going to get rid of Kyler Murray. They're just cleaning house. They're getting rid of their coach. They're just starting over fresh. They're going to get a new QB. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to fire Jonathan Gannon. Ryan, who's your pick?
If they hadn't kind of said Mike McDaniel was coming back, he would have been my pick. So I do think Jonathan Gannon or Kevin Stefanski.
Okay. Troy?
Yeah, like Ryan said, if the Dolphins didn't like somewhat turn their season around, there was no way they were gonna let Mike McDaniel or Tua stay down there. I think him benching Tua like also kind of saved his job, showing that like he's willing to make the changes that are needed. But yeah, I think the Cardinals head coach needs to go. I mean, they've been terrible the past few years. They've been flying under everyone's like shit radar though. No one's really ever pointing them out for being terrible, but they just have been. Kyler Murray hasn't only not really been playing, but when he does, he hasn't been playing like very well. That team is pretty much running through Trey McBride and Michael Wilson right now. So I think they need to clean house, like Andy said, and Cardinals just need a complete rebuild over there.
Pap, last but not least, do you have a pick?
I'm gonna throw out just two, just because I can't make up my mind. I'm gonna say Zach Taylor and Todd Bowles. So, yeah, I think Todd Bowles is I don't think he's a good coach, period. But, yeah, maybe more Zach Taylor, just because he just continues to struggle without that defense. And obviously, they say it's the defensive coordinator, but eventually, it's gonna fall on the head coach a little bit too. So,
Yeah, I agree. I like all those picks. I really do think Zach Taylor will be fired as well. I think they'll be. I'm not even going to throw out a
3.
number. I don't. 3? Okay. I probably think like at most 6 or 7, but maybe like 3 or 4. I need to grow up, dude. I'm 20 years old. I'm still making these dumbass jokes. All right. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Just real quick, one more thing. As we're hitting the New Year's here, All Sports Focus will be entering a little bit of a shift here. I wouldn't say too much of a shift, but this is more just us growing as
Yeah,
a
an exciting upgrade.
podcast. So we'll be changing our name to the All Sports Focus Network. We will have many different podcasts under the All Sports Focus title. We'll have the NBA podcast. We'll have the college basketball podcast. We'll have an NHL podcast. Obviously, the NFL and college football will always stay. We'll have a MLB one as well coming up towards the spring. UFC as well with Troy. So we'll have about, I would think, funny enough, there's probably going to be about 6 podcasts under the All Sports Focus Network to start off here. And also, Troy, also looking into maybe a gaming development, another kind of, I wouldn't say a clothing line, but a golf line. Bunch of different ideas here. We're working them out as a team here. We'll keep you guys always updated. Ryan will be putting out the picture of the PowerPoint as I'm explaining this. So you'll see the full outline of what we're kind of shifting in here towards on January 1st. So expect multiple episodes a day. I'll also have Ryan put the schedule up for the next month of January that we created. So we're really excited to take this next step in All Sports Focus, become a little, I'm not saying more serious, but just a more stronger foundation of an actual company podcast than just a Tim, Dick, and Harry sitting up here yapping. We're making it a little more formal at this point. So we wouldn't be here without all you guys listening and supporting the podcast. We really do appreciate it. You guys have anything else?
Since we've hit
Thanks.
100 subscribers, Ryan did say that he'll be giving out $1,000 to one of our subscribers.
Yeah, right.
He said that. So make sure you go to the Instagram and go comment
sure to
#give me
comment.
Ryan's money, and we will be shuffling between those person. Whoever wins probably gets about 1,000, maybe 900. I'll take 100 out of his pocket as well.
Wow. Keep an eye on Pap. Will be having to do a punishment. He did lose a toilet bowl in the fantasy league, so we're still trying to think. We don't know exactly what it's going to be yet. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Probably just make him buy
I know
a
what it
jersey
is.
or
I know
a
what he's
DH gate
doing.
jersey. Pat
We all
Troy,
know he's
no.
DeMar
we-
Hamlin jersey.
All right, that's going to do it.
And then we'll do a
appreciate
live
you
burning
guys.
of the DeMar Hamlin jersey on
Okay.
stream.
Okay. We're going to have to bleep that part out. We apologize. This whole part's just getting scrapped. We appreciate you guys. As always, we wouldn't be here without you guys listening and supporting us as always. So thank you for 100 subscribers, like Pap said. We really appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your New Year's, and we will see you guys for, is it NBA the end of this week?
NBA.
Yeah,
NBA.
hopefully.
We'll see you for the NBA one later this week. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.